Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. What do you get when you combine horror with video pinball? Well, you get a game called Dragon's Fury, or should I say Devil Crash, or even Devil's Crush. When it comes to the 16-bit Sega pinball genre, most people will be most familiar with Psycho Pinball. It was the bright and cheerful, socially acceptable face of pinball fun. There was, however, a darker alternative if you cared to seek it out. In the UK and US markets, the game was titled Dragon's Fury, but Devil Crash in the Japanese market. Previously in Japan though, the original title had been called Devil's Crush, when it was originally released on the TurboGrafx-16. As you can see from the opening, both Sega versions were very similar apart from the opening title screens. It is worth noting, however, that the pentagram imagery has been removed from the Dragon's Fury version of the games. This small change, along with other small graphical tweaks, made sure that there were no references to demonic iconography in the game. If you're looking for the full complement of demonic imagery, it's best to stick with the Devil Crash version of the game. If you are looking to download this game from a more modern platform, it's likely that Nintendo have actually removed any reference to religious iconography as part of their standard practices. If you're looking for the full original experience, it's best to keep it retro and buy the original cartridge. As you might expect, the game is packed full of horror imagery. Some of it is rather generic, such as the zombies and the skeletons, but there are some nice touches of more sinister elements, such as the pentagrams to amuse the player. The table is divided into 3 main segments. At each segment there are plenty of features to aim for, and the game generally moves at a fast pace. The main table also features sub-games. These sub-games usually lock you in an area where you must destroy dragon eggs, take down the undead, and deploy damage on wandering dragons. These sub-tables provide a nice change of pace from the main table. See each one as its own mission with the aims of earning huge bonuses and extra balls. Dragon's Fury does look great. It's suitably dark, somewhere between cartoon horror and more artistic horror. I personally enjoyed waking the Dragon Queen. There is something quite sinister and H.R. Giger-ish about the art style here. The sound department also delivers. The Sega Mega Drive and Genesis were well known for their grungy, metallic and brash capabilities. This really fits the bill well in Dragon's Fury. The background music is noticeable but not overpowering, whilst the sound effects add a consistency of dark fun. So, here's the UK edition of Dragon's Fury. As standard, you should look to get the case, manual and cartridge all in mint condition. The US Genesis version of Dragon's Fury looks very similar, other than a few regional variations. In my opinion, the box artwork really sells the game. Asking players to cough up money for what is essentially a one-table pinball game could have been a bit of a hard sell. I feel Tengen did really well with this one with the on-shelf presentation though. There's demonic queens, dragons, and our old favourite, a reanimated skeleton. It screams horror cliché, but all the more awesome for it. When it comes to pricing, Dragon's Fury is not as cheap as it once was. In the UK, expect to pay anywhere between £5 and £10. Interestingly, in the US market, there's much more variation in price for the Genesis version of the game. Expect to pay anywhere from $10 all the way up to $30 for a mint condition version. Regardless of how much you pay for your version of Dragon's Fury, I'm certain you'll get something out of it if you're a video pinball fan. Generally, the table is quite generous with points and never too difficult to hit the skill spots. It's always frustrating when the ball is lost down the middle gutters, but that's very much the feel of real-world pinball, so I think the developers actually got the game just right. Interestingly, the game cover states, "World's Greatest Pinball Game." Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Did the marketers ever actually play Pinball Dreams or Pinball Fantasies for the Commodore Amiga? Having said that, Dragon's Fury holds up very well indeed. I distinctly remember this game being in the bargain buckets along with the other Tengen games of Gauntlet 4 and Hard Driving at the end of the Mega Drive's life cycle. You practically couldn't give these games away. Having revisited Dragon's Fury though, I feel that we were wrong to turn away from the game at the time. I found the game addictive, well laid out, and really enjoyed the horror theme. Despite this being essentially a one-table game, apart from the sub-quests, there is enough content in here to keep me interested and coming back for more. I've previously said how much I enjoyed Psycho Pinball on the system. In terms of enjoyment, Dragon's Fury certainly matches the entertainment value of any of Psycho Pinball's 4 tables in my opinion. I really have a soft spot for any game featuring reanimated skeletons though. If you are looking for a retro party game to play at Halloween with your friends, this is a great self-contained title to try and top the high scores charts. With a dark soundtrack, great playability and a nice gothic style to the tables, I feel this is one that we should definitely revisit. Is it the world's greatest pinball game? Perhaps not. Is it the world's best pinball game with skeletons doing the conga? Most likely. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!